Selection, the show about newsy type stuff and things. My name is George.
My name is Tom.
And my name is Adam.
And with our powers combined, we are the full strength of Unnatural Selection. Make sure you visit us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com.
Yeah,
It's a
Navy
podcast. It's cask strength. It's
60 proof.
Yeah, 100%.
I just want to say words like proof. I don't fully even understand what it means when it comes to spirits, but
listen to one of these and you are not safe to get behind the wheel. Make sure you visit us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com, and follow us on all the bullshit social medias that have, do, or ever will exist at our handle at Unnatural Show, including places like YouTube and TikTok where people tell me how badly red I am.
I don't know what you expected. Like, this new social media strategy, and you're like, guys, people are cunts online. I'm like,
People are really
George.
mean. They're so mean to me.
I don't know what you expected. You made your opinions more widely seen. What did you expect to happen?
The amount of comments that open with, "Do you guys even read a fucking book?" It's a lot. It's a higher percentage than you think.
I am going to be freely admitted that I don't read many books. I read the headlines of the article and then I form opinions, just like most of the Australians.
As exemplified by, how did you phrase it? I'm reading. What? How did you say it?
You're not reading any.
I'm not reading.
Any books.
I'm not reading any books.
I'm not reading.
See, I like to think my brother writes a lot of books, so I think that cancels out me not really reading any books.
Oh, you're along for the ride?
Because
That
you
counts?
guys not reading any books, but there's no like contributed book output. So that's a deficit. Whilst for me, he puts out a lot of books. So me not reading any books, it kind of just equals at zero.
You've been reading a lot of budget commentary this week, Tom.
I'm carbon reading neutral, is what I'm saying.
You're net negative.
Yeah.
We are a podcast about the news.
I read books. Just putting it out there. I read
Yeah, George.
books.
Great.
We know.
All right.
We know.
All right.
NBA,
It's just,
ring the bell.
it seems like they think I don't read books, so I just
Yeah.
wanted to get that out there.
You
But
read
I
books.
do read books.
You read the books, and as a result of that, we are a podcast about the news, which sometimes strays into being funny. And starting off, real funny stuff to start off with. Someone tried to, I guess, assault the White House with a weapon again.
Attempted siege.
Yeah, no.
One man
we don't
army,
know.
allegedly.
One man army. We don't really know what happened too much, but just that there was a man that has walked up to a checkpoint near the White House,
a block
started
away,
shooting,
yeah.
and he, along with a bystander, were injured. The gunman later died. So unclear.
Very
on what's
passive
happening there.
language. Yeah, he died.
Later.
Just happened to die of terminal cancer right there on the White House
Yeah.
lawn.
No, yeah.
Got a
Nobody goes-
really spicy cough.
I
Yes.
wonder. I
He went
wonder
home,
if.
opened his front door. There was a bucket like above it, clocked him on the head,
Hunter
Yeah, it
virus.
was kind of a
tripped over a brick.
Home Alone type situation. Yeah, presumably died from gunshot wounds. So I wonder if that has anything to do with the fact that the president has a historically low approval rating, which is just.
No, I'm sure it's because they love him.
%. Yeah, I think
Sure,
it's.
it's because they love him.
Yeah. We'll
We
never
don't know, just for clarity, for legal reasons, we don't know what the motivations were. We
No.
don't really know much about what's happened. We're just saying
Yeah.
that this is the reports that we are getting. It is breaking news, and I'm sure we'll know more next week.
It did really show. It was an interesting example this morning. I was just having breakfast with my parents, and I went, looking at my phone. Shots fired at the White House. And we carried on with our breakfast.
Yeah.
That's the world that we live in at the moment, right? Like, normally you'd be like, yeah, can you imagine if
Whoa.
we just saw, like, a plane just crashed into the South Tower at the World Trade Center? And we were like, oh, yeah, all right. Anyway, what are you on this afternoon? Oh, did you catch up with Steve? Like, just if we just all moved on. That's kind of the morning that I had with this news. The only little detail I found sort of interesting in it, because, yeah, as Adam said, they're still investigating this. There's not really anything like it was this person for this reasons, whatever. Was this little detail in the ABC reporting that came out pretty quick. I assume it must have, I believe it was like announced by the Secret Service or the FBI or something like that, that the alleged shooter had previously been given a, all right, mate, just go away kind of order from the checkpoint. But it wasn't clear if it was earlier that day or just that, like, Oh, we know this guy. Come on, mate. You always come up here.
Nah,
like,
this is
fuck-
Jeff. Come on,
Yeah,
Jeff.
fuck off, Jeff. Like, we
No,
told
the
you to
president's
go
not a
away.
pedophile. Get out of here,
like-
Jeff. You're crazy.
Yeah, it
Just
just seemed
because his
like a-
best friend for decades was the
Yeah.
world's most notorious pedophile doesn't mean that he's a pedophile. Just because he's a convicted criminal, just because he's been found liable for rape in a court of law. Actually, now that I'm hearing it out loud, it does actually. I see where you're coming from, but you still need to move on.
Maybe Jeff has some good ideas.
Jeff is a crazy person, but he did get his timing right in the sense that the president was in the White House. He didn't attend. He's meant to be attending his son's wedding, but he's very busy, guys.
That's right. Did you guys see his
I'll
comment
see if
about
I can
that?
make it or not. Maybe I can make it. Maybe I can. I'm pretty
Oh.
busy with the homos and the whatnots.
The best thing he said in all that was like, Don Jr.'s, so I've known him a long time.
since birth, you might
Yeah,
say.
it's just like, I've known him a long time, but I don't think I'll be able to make it. Like, he's your fucking firstborn, you idiot.
Yeah, it's
Please.
definitely giving last season of Succession vibes, where Logan Roy is not sure if he's going to be able to make it to his son
Make
Connor's
it
wedding.
To Connor's wedding, yeah. The con heads are loving this.
But yes, he is very busy working on a deal for the Strait of Hormuz.
What are you talking about? It's been largely negotiated, Adam.
That's the pull quote. Largely negotiated.
The Iranians aren't saying that. They're saying that they're negotiating a potential framework for a.
They're
Wow.
close to arriving at the potential framework for a deal, which includes further negotiations, potentially.
Great.
So
I
it's
love
solved.
being that many layers deep in
Yeah.
a global economic catastrophe as well as large amounts of loss of life.
So basically, Trump has said that a peace deal with Iran that would open the Strait of Hormuz has been largely negotiated, with deals to be unveiled, with details to be unveiled soon, and presumably to Donald Trump as well.
Yeah.
Final
As soon as he
aspects-
can make them up.
As soon as I can, take a shit at 5 a.m. in the morning and start tweeting them out, they'll be announced. Final aspects and details of the deal are currently being discussed and will be announced shortly, Mr. Trump wrote on Truth Social, his propaganda amplification piece of software. Now, so the apparent breakthrough, as apparent is doing a lot of heavy lifting there, came after Pakistan's Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir, a key messenger between the US and Iran, visited Tehran to meet with Iranian leaders earlier in the week. So there's no dispute that they are in some sort of talks, but it's essentially just finalizing a memorandum of understanding, which for anyone who's ever worked at a university, memorandum of understanding is basically a not deal that precedes a maybe deal. It's basically just a
it's a
piece
way
of
for
paper
deal
that says
breakers to make money in
Yeah.
the process of making a deal. The lawyers win, basically.
it's just
is
about
what
saying
happens.
we agree to like keep talking about a thing. It's not
Yeah.
binding. It's not like,
like-
it's
deciding what kind of chips and dip are going to be at the real meeting.
yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah.
So not a declaration of the war's end as though they're making it out to be, although they have said multiple times that this new operation is different to the original operation, and therefore that's how they get around the 60-day rule with Congress. It's like, no, we're not bombing at the moment, so the war's over. Start the timer now. New war, different war. It's called something
New
else.
state of emergency, yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
The
he's been
Iran
doing
War
this.
will return in Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness. Like, we're doing, like, the next one.
Different war, totally different.
Trump has been doing this for years. He overstates the status
He's a bullshit artist,
of-
Adam. Just say he's a bullshit
He's a liar.
artist. He talks, it's
He's a liar.
confabulation. Either
Yeah.
he's lying or he's full of shit or he's just making things up. He's bored of this, as has been publicly reported.
Yes,
I'm bored.
he
Let's
wants
go
to
get
go.
Cuba instead.
yes. Which we'll talk about in a second. So he's overstating the negotiations. There are negotiations happening. What's happening in those? Iran is saying that it's nowhere near what Trump is ascertaining.
I believe the pull quote was, quote, inconsistent with reality.
It's lovely. I love it. Anyway, but whether is this art of the deal, putting pressure on the other people to publicly shift, the focus and the world's attention to be like, well, it's the Iranians that are negotiating in bad faith. We almost had a deal. So is like you could argue that this is like strategic, but
insofar as
it's probably
Trump
not.
has strategic thoughts, which is just like, I'm going to say we've got a deal, and then maybe a deal will happen. It's the secret. You just manifest it into
manifesting
existence.
it. You manifest it.
I put it on my vision board up on the White House wall. No nukes. Donald Trump has a giant cock. Everything's fantastic. My approval's at 95%. Everybody loves me again. Everything's all good.
I've just sidebar. I've just been watching We Crashed about the WeWork
Fiasco.
Fiasco. Anyway, they say the word manifest. And they talk about manifesting their own reality a lot.
Well, they nearly manifested themselves into $1 billion IPO, and then everyone looked at the documents and was like, hey, this company's nothing. This isn't anything. What are you talking about? This is nonsense. So, it's for these hucksters, for these these bullshit artists, this is how they operate.
For Trump, it's worked. Like, it's, to his credit, I don't know if it's his credit, for his luck,
to his upside, it has landed him president of the United States 2 times. So like, maybe we're the fucking idiots, I guess. Who knows?
I was gonna say, it's to his credit, and it's to our deep, deep, deep shame.
Yes.
that his entire life has been lie failing upwards.
And this would, if this was a boardroom negotiation, that tactic's pretty smart. Right, it shifts investor confidence. The optics of it in the media play very well.
That's how Elon Musk became the world's richest man, was just inflating investor expectations.
But
to the moon.
It's this geopolitics about a war. Like, at the end of the day, the Iranians don't give a shit what the optics are.
Yeah.
It's just habit at this stage rather than any strategy. And for anyone who's saying that Donald Trump is somehow playing 4D chess here, you're a
bro can't even play 2D checkers. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghai told Iran's official news agency the draft was a framework agreement, adding, "We want this to include the main issues required for ending the imposed war and other issues of essential importance to us. Then, over a reasonable time span between 30 to 60 days, details are discussed and ultimately a final agreement is reached. Our focus at this stage is on ending the war on all fronts, including Lebanon, Israel," adding that lifting sanctions on Tehran has explicitly been included in the text and remains our fixed position. So he's getting ahead of Donald Trump doing the thing that he does where a deal is reached and then he goes, "Nah, that wasn't in it." He's going, up front, I'm telling you that lifting sanctions is part of this for us. That is non-negotiable. I'm going on the record. So if these hostilities are concluded and if the Strait of Hormuz is then again safe to travel and all of the mines are cleared and the US blockade ends, we're still looking at a time frame of multiple months before the situation in the region with regard to exporting of oil through the strait looks anything like what it did in January of this year.
Yeah.
Right? Best case scenario.
Yeah, he's really fucked the year at minimum.
Yeah, you've ruined Christmas, quite literally.
So yeah, I mean, I expect this will fall apart and we'll be in the same position we were. I don't know, now. It's not going to change.
I think it's just a matter of finding a way for Trump to just like back away like Homer Simpson into so many hedges without losing too much face. That's all he wants at this stage. Is like, well, we don't want them to have a nuclear program. We need the dust. We've got to get the dust, the nuclear dust, and like, have traversal of the Strait of Hormuz, like all of which were things that were the existing situation prior to the invasion of Iran. Like the goal of the war is to undo the consequences that unjustly starting the war caused. You know what I mean? Like, so to the idea that the
It's
America
sticking
has
yourself
achieved,
into a hole and going, well, if I guess we get out of the hole, it's a win. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boy, is this hole deep. If only there was a way out of this hole, that would be a real win for us. It's like, you started this. No one made you do any of this.
Dug the hole.
You know, Netanyahu obviously talked you into it, but it's like, no, there was no need. You are no closer to any of the things that you say you want now than you were before all of this started. It's been an unmitigated fuckfest failure from start to finish. And now he's just getting bored of it. So he just wants to be able to peace out and walk away to their next, let's focus our bullshit, colonialist, expansionist efforts on much smaller countries who can't put up a fight. That's where we really excel as the American military, is just really beating the shit out of South American dictatorships. That's where we're strongest.
Hemisphere of influence. Yada, yada.
So I guess when he was saying hemisphere of influence, he meant like the northern hemisphere, like that. We were thinking the western hemisphere, but he was just chopping the globe into top and bottom. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows?
Is Cuba technically the southern hemisphere? Is it is it near the equator? Where is Cuba?
No, it's like 90 miles off the coast of the United States. So I would say it's definitely northern hemisphere.
Northern hemisphere, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to position where the equator is.
I thought.
Yeah.
I'm
just
not the geography
sidebar
guy in a trivia night, so don't trust me on that.
Geometry. Just a sidebar as well on the whole Lebanese situation. It's a shit show. The whole thing's horrible.
Yeah, it's bad. The Israelis. I watched to your point, Tom, about how I only consume media about deeply upsetting things, reading upsetting books and watching upsetting documentaries.
And then he's like, why am I upset?
Why am I sad all the time? Why am I anxious? What's going on? Why do I feel bad constantly?
If only there was something I could do about this.
Yeah, I know. I watched a 2-hour documentary about Bibi Netanyahu's corruption called The Bibi Files.
Was it 2 hours like for us, or was it the 2 hours of you at like 2.4 times speed?
I watched it at 1x speed. It was a film. I have respect for films. Okay.
All right. Okay.
It was a film. Bibi Netanyahu, real piece of shit. I know. That's the very quick. That's the
and this is
summary.
All stuff before the war.
Bad guy.
As well.
Yeah, this was just his corruption in terms of like, the deals he was making and getting with billionaires, sending in pallets of champagne. And he goes, I don't recall big pallets of champagne being in my house. It's like, well, they sent you like several cases of it, and you don't remember like getting bags full of cigars from your billionaire mates. So he's like, no, I don't remember that. You'd have to like ask my wife about that. And the wife's like, yeah, we have champagne. Like, we like,
I don't know a lot.
Of course we do. Like, we work so fucking hard. We deserve a little tasty treat from the billionaires. It's like, this is so obvious fucking corruption. Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I don't know a lot about Netanyahu's wife, but what little I do know is that she is terrifying.
Terrifying.
Will
very scary.
Explode at anyone.
Yeah.
like I've only heard just recordings of her losing her shit at people. That is all I know about her, and I would not want to be on the receiving end of Mrs. Netanyahu.
Well, according to those familiar with the matter, Bibi's pretty afraid of her as well. And not to put too fine a point on it, but it reminds me of certain unpleasant family dynamics growing up. So seeing her interviewed, she's not a nice lady. Anyway, but basically the thrust of it is this outrunning these corruption scandals is why Bibi Netanyahu tried to do his judicial reforms, which, people in Israel spent 32 solid weeks protesting, and then was part of the reason that the attention was diverted from the security sort of situation, which enabled the October 7th attacks to occur is the contention that the film is making, and which leads us to the current day. Like, he's basically just keeps starting wars because it keeps making him more and more popular. It keeps him in office and keeps him outrunning.
Kicks the can out of the
He keeps kicking the can down the road. He's just escaping these criminal corruption investigations by continuing to be the prime minister and launching wars against Lebanon and Iran and whoever the fuck else.
The point that I was trying to get to by raising that was that, I mean, there's a lot of things happening. The Israelis are bombing lots of things and killing lots of people, but including
That's evergreen statement.
including UN peacekeepers that are in the region as well.
Yeah, cool and normal.
what is starting to happen though? There are reports that the Hezbollah drone campaign is increasing. I guess I don't know what I guess they're looking at what's happening in Ukraine, and there are situations where now some Israeli units are starting to get, from what I understand, partially bogged down in whatever they're trying to do. So, I guess what I'm getting at here is that situation is developing, and I guess Netanyahu may find that he potentially may have bitten off more than he could chew with what he's trying to achieve from territorial gains.
What is this, the consequences of my actions? Can't believe this.
Now, it's early days, and of course, Israel could easily just pull back behind the border and go, well, we've done our job. We've kicked Hezbollah on the dick.
We sure did it, guys. We achieved victory.
And then maybe that won't do anything. But I guess it'll be interesting to see sort of if they are going for, as some reports have said, territorial expansion up to the Litani River, then...
Well, if you listen to Mike Huckabee, they can have it all.
For fun.
They can have the whole Levant. They're entitled to it because of what the book said, because of the fairy tale book. They can have it all, according to Mike fucking Huckabee, ambassador.
So, anyway, point being is Israel may be getting itself in too deep as well. Now, speaking of getting in too deep, Tulsi Gabbard was a former Democratic senator or House of or Congress.
I think she was a congressperson. I'll check.
A politician for the Democrats. Switched sides, then became... I think she ran for the Republican nomination, didn't she? From memory?
No, I don't think she ran. She was a Democrat more or less until the moment that she joined the Trump administration. She was always like controversial because she said like some very chummy things about Assad and like went and visited him and was like, Syria's great, guys. And everyone's like, oh, that guy's doing like war crimes. Maybe he's not.
Well, Tulsi Gabbard
she can
run for president.
She might have run on the Democratic side, not as a Republican though.
Yeah,
she ran for the 2020 Democratic primaries.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
and did poorly. Yeah,
but being a former Democrat, she can add another former to her list of titles because she is now the former Director of National Intelligence, having resigned from Donald Trump's administration.
Yeah, so she previously served as the representative for Hawaii's 2nd Congressional District. Yeah, so she was never a senator. Yeah, and she got big into the like the Rogan sphere. Like Joe Rogan had her on a bunch of times, and he was like, "I just like how she's so plain speaking. I just like how she just tells it like it is, and she's against foreign wars, and she was
a big Biden critic. She really didn't like
what
everything that Biden was doing, basically, and she had a very isolationist sort of viewpoint of let's not get involved in things.
And tell me, how does that sort of comport with Trump's, sort of colonialist, expansionist, everything, everywhere, all at once, kind of all-out war efforts? I wonder how.
Once you've smelled enough farts, George, everything just smells like air.
Yeah. So I find it interesting, just because she's resigned as the Director of National Intelligence, and in the letter. The resignation letter and all that, like saying resigning to support her husband, who's recently been diagnosed with bone cancer. So that's not great.
That's brutal.
But just adding this little comment, I cannot in good conscience ask him to face this fight alone while I continue in this demeaning and time-consuming post. It implies that she's been acting...
Demanding. She meant demand. That was a Freudian slip, Tom. She meant demeaning, but she said demanding.
Yeah, that's true. I was more going to make the point. That implies that she's been working in good conscience up to this point.
No, and we know that Tulsi Gabbard's
been... the Director of National Intelligence for Donald Trump has been in good conscience this entire time.
Everything up until now, perfect. But now what is personal responsibilities.
For people who may have just tuned in and they're like, what is the Director of National Intelligence? What are they? They are the head of national intelligence. The US has... like an intelligence superstate. There's the CIA, NSA, like Homeland. There's all these spy agencies. And what happened after 9/11 was there was a review, a good review, and they came together and they went, wait a minute, like none of these agencies are talking to each other. So we're going to put someone up the top.
Well, not at all, but yes, they're not coordinating in the ways that we would like to prevent global terror networks from attacking us without, appropriate forewarning, right?
We'll have someone at the top there who's like the boss of everything. She's
managing these various intelligence services, making sure that they're communicating, and then surfacing that information up to the president, right?
Yeah, she's the top spy basically in the in the administration. Anyway, so you'd think that would be pretty important
Sounds
in
important.
Yeah.
the things
It
that
is.
the US is doing at the
Yeah.
moment. She's been sort of apparently out of the loop on most things that have happened.
Yeah. Like, so, you know, she's been out on the outs with the Trump administration for some time. There was kind of like some oblique sort of criticism that she put together in a video
Remember the Hiroshima
about
thing?
him.
Like,
Yeah, the video of the
Yeah.
Hiroshima video that we played, where she's like, some people think that they can escape nuclear war by going down into their bunkers. But breaking news, you're hearing it from Tulsi Gabbard's social media video first. Nuclear war is bad, kids, okay? And that, and along with, I guess, several other things, meant that she was on the outs with the Trump administration, has been for some time. And, you know, there were some indications that Trump was trying to sort of bring her back into the loop potentially with, you know, sort of having her investigate the domestic bullshit investigation into the 2020 election fraud where she was
Let it
involved.
go, man. Let it
Let
go.
it go. Let it go, man. They can't get you at this point. Like, just die in office like you're always going to with your big swollen cankles and your fucking heart disease. Just like, you know, you don't need to worry about this shit anymore. It's behind you. And so he sort of was, it seemed like she was trying to get back into his good graces by acting like investigating the 2020 fraud,
Which,
false
by the
claims
way,
was
not
actually a real thing.
Not something that she, like, should be doing. She's really meant to be focused on foreign
Yeah.
threats.
And the fact that she
Yeah.
was not in the room for like decisions around, you know, the Venezuela in, you know, sort of kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro, the fact that she was not in the room when the decision was made to go to war with Iran, the fact that she hasn't been involved in any meaningful way, as far as I can tell, with this whole Cuba blockade and the other foreignist, expansionist, interventionist wars of choice that America's been embarking on quietly in the background, in addition to this, suggests to me that she's being frozen out, and she's,
Yeah.
you know, turns out being a stooge, as you said in the in the chat, Adam, being a stooge sucks, and and so she's going to stick around in the role until June 30. Hopefully, her husband's bone cancer, you know, just kind of stays still for a good 6 weeks, I guess. Yeah, I think it was a good as excuse as any to just yeet the fuck out of this crumbling, failing
I mean,
Trump
to be honest,
administration, right?
like, yeah, if your husband is severely crook and you are doing a role where you are a stooge, like obviously, like she's obviously well off. Like, she's not hard for money.
She's fine.
Like, obviously, go and support your husband. Like, you know, you want to be with your family.
Yeah.
You don't want to be doing the stooge job. That's a natural choice. But it's, yeah. I mean, she was one of the people when you know, out of the pool of bastards that is Trump's cabinet, she was perhaps the one person I was like, oh, she seems like she's somewhat rational. Like, she's not necessarily an ideologue.
I love your relentless,
Optimism.
unbreakable.
I just thought
optimism.
she might be the adult in the room.
Yeah.
Adam,
If
there
you've
are
got-
no
out of
adults in the room.
Hegseth, Huckabee, like all these other people.
It's
you know,
morons all the way down. There are
Rubio.
no adults.
I just thought maybe she would be the adult in the room to, like.
God, get me a
Keep
glass
Hegseth
of
in
whatever Adam's having every morning, because I could use a dose of that unrelenting optimism at all times. No, they're all fucking idiots. They're all stooges.
So anyway, so that happened, and as you know, why is that important? Because the US has blockaded Cuba and are
Yeah, 'cause
potentially trying to.
The next foreign entanglement is right around the corner.
Marco Rubio needs to really consult his doctor, because his erection has clearly lasted for more than 4 hours.
Someone needs to pour cold water over that. Like,
Yeah.
Take a shower, my friend.
Take a shower.
Lasted more than 4 wars.
So, on that note, this week, the US Department of Justice has officially indicted Raul Castro, the 94-year-old ex-president of Cuba.
How old is he?
94.
What is he? The ex-president?
Ex-president of Cuba. Yeah, so this stems from a 1996 incident in which the Cuban military shot down 2 unarmed civilian planes operated by an organization called Brothers to the Rescue. And so what they've said is that, well, that was murder, and now we're going to charge you for it. Now, is this a predicate on which the US government is going to try and launch some kind of extraction type situation like they did with Nicolas Maduro, where he was indicted on being the head of a drug cartel, and then sort of extract him. Maybe, who knows? But like as we've said, he was defense minister at the time. He became president. He's now no longer the president. He's just an old man looking back on his life filled with regret. And to indict him, to arrest him, I don't know what real purpose that serves. Even if he is extracted and kidnapped in the way that they kidnapped Maduro, it's not going to affect the Cuban government. But alongside the blockade that the US is conducting in around the Strait of Hormuz with Iran, they've also concurrently, we've touched on it once or twice during the show, mentioned that they're also conducting a similar blockade around Cuba, to the extent to which Cuba's fuel reserves have gone to zero, nothing. They have no fuel left. Electricity is available intermittently 1 to 2 hours per day. And it's for people to charge their phones, and it's ground the Cuban economy to like an absolute halt. It's
what a blockade's for, right? Yeah.
Hospitals, surgeries, people are dying because they do not have access to power in any meaningful way. And presumably the idea of what they're doing is to completely blockade Cuba in order to overthrow the communist regime, which has been a thorn. Well, okay. To overthrow the revolutionary dictatorship in Cuba, however you want to characterize it, that has been there since whatever it was, 52, I think was when it was first launched, right? So there's been a whole long-running thing with Cuba. Marco Rubio himself is a Cuban American. I think this actually puts into a little bit more context as to why they overthrew Venezuela. Because
they're the primary
Venezuela
supplier, right?
was the primary supplier of petrol to Cuba. So clearly this
that was a shaping operation.
Right.
Yeah.
Was setting the stage for being able to further isolate Cuba, right?
And what's
Cuba's
interesting,
been this the apple of the sort of Cuban American sort of resistance expat eye for 60 years, 80 years at this point.
Look up the Bay of Pigs, like it's a whole.
Yeah, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and they were supported by the Soviet Union for a long time, and when the Soviet Union collapsed in 89 or 91 or whenever it was,
89, I think.
So that's when everything really started to sort of come apart at the seams for Cuba. But it's been a military dictatorship, so they've been able to hold on to power for some time. But clearly the United States is manufacturing a situation where they want to cause unrest and overthrow the government, right? That's clearly their objective.
What's interesting was that Trump has ascertained with Venezuela that we're telling that we're in control, we're telling them what to do. And I mean, at least on the oil front, they have stopped, as you said, supplying oil to
they've blockaded
Cuba. Well, I mean, it was a political decision. I can't remember the president's name in Venezuela, but she decided that
Delcy Rodriguez.
So they weren't going to. They stopped. So, and then obviously Mexico and other suppliers that they have been scared out of it bullied by threats of sanctions. So, I mean, again, Cuba's been sort of under the system of government now for decades and decades and decades. Like, you take out the leader, what are you going to do? Just go in and there's no. I don't understand what they're
for the purposes of what.
Here.
Like what's the advantage to the American people? They don't pose a threat. Then it's not like the Cuban Missile Crisis in '63 or whatever.
Cuban
it was,
terrorists
where they had missiles trained on the United States. They go, oh well, it's a security threat.
They love tequila.
They're
and
90
they love
miles
cigars.
away.
Why do we care?
Like Cuba's economy is like a fraction of one state of the American economy by comparison. There were talks. There was a potential opening up of Cuba under the Obama administration. The idea was that they were going to have sort of resumption of normal relations and encourage sort of commerce and trade. And then obviously the Obama administration, the Trump administration got in 2016 and put the kibosh on all of that. So I really don't understand, like, other than Trump maybe wanting to set up a bunch of beachfront, sort of get a bunch of Cuban expat Miami investors to start setting up beachfront property and resorts in Cuba. Like, I really don't understand what the possible advantage is for the Americans in doing this. Like, it's not a threat.
There is an historical element to it, which is linked in the article that we'll link, so a link of a link, where apparently, there are successive administrations have tried to like buy or annex the island. Like, it's not a new thing. Like, as far back as the
but like, why have the
1700s.
Americans got such a hard on? Is it just because it's like socialists that are nearby and they're like, "Ugh, it's squeaky. I don't like it that they're so close to me."
I don't know. It seems like just a waste of. I mean, maybe it's again a distraction. It's just another thing that they can. It's a look over here while something else is happening in the background.
Rubio this week, himself a Cuban American expat, commemorated Cuba's 1902 Independence Day by delivering the following message to the Cuban people in Spanish. And I want to tell you that we in the US are offering to help you not only to alleviate the current crisis, but also to build a better future. Now, the current crisis that he's referring to is the blockade, which his government is perpetuating at his insistence.
Has started and are in control of. Yeah. Great. Good one, Marco.
Wild. Yeah, and look, it goes back to this, the revised Monroe Doctrine, foreign policy
The
thing.
Donroe Doctrine.
Donroe Doctrine. They just, there's this focus where they just want to dominate the region. And to what end, I guess, money, I don't know. It all is fairly crazy. Speaking of crazy, though, Trump's just like, basically, I don't know, made himself like exempt from any potential tax audits.
Yeah, it's just financially untouchable.
Yeah.
For past tax years.
It is funny that the largest corruption scandal in American history is fifth on the rundown today. Like, it just gives you an indication of how fucked everything is in this world at the moment. So the US Department of Justice, obviously run by Todd Blanche, who is Trump's former personal attorney, right? He's the acting Attorney General since Pam Bondi got yeeted unceremoniously. The U.S. Department of Justice has announced that this week's unprecedented settlement of President Donald Trump's lawsuit over the leaking of his tax returns blocks the IRS from reviewing tax filings that Trump, his family, and his businesses made in the past.
Yeah.
So what Trump did was Trump, the person, sued the IRS because someone had leaked his tax return details during the first Trump administration, I believe it was.
I heard that.
You heard me crack my neck there.
I did.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Ow.
It's getting serious. So someone leaked Trump's tax returns. I think it was either during his first term or after his first term in the interregnum between, sort of Trump's first and second terms, where some old guy was in charge. I forget his name. And
Old Man River.
it's old man Biden. Hey, Jack, I'm going to stop fascism, Jack. No, I'm serious. So it was either during Trump's first term or during the Biden term that someone leaked Trump's his tax returns and a number of other tax returns. That man was charged and convicted and is currently serving a prison term for having done that. It's obviously not legal to do, despite the fact that it's kind of been a commonly understood thing that presidents volunteer their tax returns when running for office. It's kind of been a thing since Nixon, for like corruption reasons that you give that
not
information.
Trump.
Yeah, not Trump. Anyway, so he sued over that and sued the IRS, and because he controls the U.S. Justice Department, which is defending the claim, he also controls what he can direct them to do in response to that. So he initially threatened to sue the IRS for $10 billion over leaks. The judge was seemingly about to throw the case out. So the judge had basically asked each side of the dispute, both the Justice Department and Trump's attorneys, to put together briefs to explain how this is like a legitimate, sort of legal action that is being taken when Trump is both the plaintiff and the defendant. And, because like laws.
Because that's the world we live in now.
And prior to that, the Justice Department elected to settle the lawsuit with Trump for a value of, Guess how much?
Something with a B.
$1.776 billion. 1776, baby! I've seen the documents!
But that number's not going to him, George. That number's going into a fund. It's going into
worse.
a fund.
It's much worse. He said he was going to give it to charity, which he always says about these things. I'm going to give it to charity.
Which
It's gonna be
charity?
incredible. And so what they've done is they've agreed to establish a 1776 anti-weaponization fund. I know it's Tom's eyes of doing an Olympic level roll into the back of his
that
skull.
hurts.
And obviously, yeah, it's just obviously complete horseshit. So they've agreed to settle out of court, and the judge can't stop it, I guess.
Yeah.
And they've established this anti-weaponization fund that would pay claims from, quote, those who suffered under weaponization and lawfare. And the idea is basically that Trump is going to use this as a slush fund to direct money at his supporters, some of whom, might launch requests for funding as a result of their participation and prosecution in the January 6th trials that occurred when people violently tried to overthrow the Capitol. So it's basically a way of Trump sending money direct. Not only will he...
Kristi Noem's like, hey.
hey. Well, what I would love is for Jim Comey and other people who have been obviously victimized by lawfare from the Trump administration to turn around and go, yeah, can I have some of this? I'll have some of that money. Some of the, Jack Smith, all of the people who tried to prosecute Trump and have been, either attempted to be prosecuted or have been run out of their jobs. The FBI agents that were assigned to investigate, Donald Trump's, Russia, 2016 Russian election meddling stuff. All these people that have been victimized for Trump. I'd love it if they were the main beneficiaries of this fund. But somehow, I think, given that the Trump administration themselves are appointing 5 of the 6 members of this panel that will oversee to whom the funds are distributed, I don't think that it's likely to be the case. I think it's going to be January 6ers and Oath Keepers and other, Trump toadies and fuck-ups that are going to be getting this money. So Trump will not only pardon you if you go to jail for violently uprising and trying to steal an election for him, but you also get paid.
By the way. Yeah.
You're also going to get money out of it as well.
Potentially.
Is maybe the most corrupt thing that any president has ever done ever.
1.8 billion.
1.776 Adam. The 1776 thing is very important.
Round up.
Don't tread on me, okay? It's the whole thing is farcical. It's beyond venal and corrupt. It's I know I'm the guy that keeps talking about what was that president's name? The peanut farmer?
Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter. I know I'm the guy who always brings up Jimmy Carter when these things happen, but it's Jimmy Carter had to give up his peanut farm.
Yes.
In case, just on the off chance that someone thought Big Peanut might get to him. You know what I mean? There was also a report this week, which I forgot we didn't even put in the rundown, about how Trump is actively insider trading on the information. He's done 3,600 trades since he entered office the second time. Day 57, buys a bunch of shares in Dell Computers. Day 58, goes out and literally tells everyone to buy a Dell computer. Day 36, buys, shitloads of NVIDIA stock. Day 38, does some fucking AI deal to enrich NVIDIA. It is what's the opposite of hidden corruption? It's open source. It's available on the blockchain, open, obvious corruption. And
it's
this
not,
doesn't even register anymore.
Yeah.
We're just of course he's fucking corrupt. Of course he's gonna.
So while it's corrupt, it isn't.
What is emolument to me again? Don't worry about it. It's fine.
It may not be illegal. So,
especially if the president does it.
Yeah.
If the president does it, it's not illegal. That's what I would learn from Frost Nixon, and I think what Trump learned as well.
And he also can't be it can't be looked into. It's kind of on top of that.
Because the Supreme Court has given him cover to say that anything he does in the course of his duties is not illegal. To be clear, the president is not allowed legally to profit from his role, right?
What
Emolument
actually
is a legal
agreed.
term referring to compensation, profit, or gain derived from employment or services or holding an office. There is an emoluments clause in the Constitution that specifically says you cannot profit from your place in office. It's explicitly illegal according to the founding document.
Other people are profiting.
He's profiting.
Yes.
No, these are stock trades that Trump himself.
We're talking about the... Anyway.
Don't try and make out like this is normal. This is a 5-alarm fire. This is the most corrupt administration in history. Okay?
Yes. Democracy has failed. Tom, you're talking
about
that they can't go back.
That I think the thing that I think is crazy is just the little addendum onto the end of the settlement around that started this 1776 fund and all that. The Justice Department just added that they are forever barred and precluded from just going back and looking at anything that not only Trump himself has done, but his family or his businesses or anything like that in their tax returns for all of history.
This is an addendum. He goes,
a sneaky little addendum.
We just stole $2 billion.
We can never do anything.
We just stole $2 billion from the IRS. Also, no takesies backsies.
Yeah. No,
I'm good forever. Forever. I've got a license to crime now for the rest of my life now, apparently.
They can investigate any future tax returns.
Yeah.
Not the past
which the IRS and the Justice Department qualified after Trump had sent that out. They're like, no, we're just talking about past crimes. This is totally normal and natural. No, except none of this is.
Yeah, it's crazy because if they find out that he did something even more ludicrously corrupt in his tax returns at any point that would have got him in turbo jail before he became president, they have to be like, well, he's a king now, I guess.
And it's interesting because so there's a couple of things. One, they're saying it's not illegal because the order was signed by Todd Blanche, not the president. So
and remind me again. And who does Todd Blanche serve at the pleasure of?
But it's his signature on the paperwork.
Okay.
Some guy called Donald Trump.
I think not only does this violate both the spirit and the letter of the law, it actually takes the Constitution, rolls it up into a cylinder, and fucks it. It actually fucks the physical document that is the Constitution.
Yum.
Yeah.
Sorry, this metaphor's just got me. I've completely lost what I was going to say.
The parchment is really scratchy. I don't like it.
But yeah, I mean, what they're saying is that, like, I find it kind of wild that this whole thing can just get sort of, like, the fact that they can't go back and retroactively look at his tax records is based on effectively a contract. So,
it's a settlement agreement.
Yeah, but it's an out-of-court settlement agreement.
Yeah.
So it's like, this hasn't been decided by the Justice Department.
By a court of law or anything, yeah.
No,
the Justice Department agreed to it at the direction of, checks notes, Donald Trump. So,
Anyway, it's one of these weird, things. I guess
I listened to a professor who was the ethics, czar during the Obama administration that said
czar?
Ethics, whatever the head honcho is, the ethics, sort of leader.
Probably not a czar though.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like. I feel the word czar.
They use that word. They say czar for things in the US. I don't get it. The ethics guy,
the emperor
at
yes, the supreme ethics.
Can
leader.
I fucking get this story out?
No.
So I was listening.
The deep irony of that.
So I was listening to this ethics guy who worked in the Obama administration, and he was saying he gave guidance to Obama during his second term, I think, that he could not refinance his house because the appearance of, during the fallout of the global financial crisis, of Obama refinancing his house would be improper for him to undertake that action, right? And compare it to Donald Trump, who's just walking around the IRS going, what is that, a bag of money? I'll have that. Pop it in the back. The boot's open. Like, comparing the two is just like wild to me. Forget the Melania coin and the Trump coin and the Trump fucking NFT trading cards, the Trump watches, the Trump phones. There's people online angry. Where's my Trump phone? You guys said you were going to give me a Trump phone and you got my money. Where's my Trump phone? Trump phones are never coming, my friend. I hate to tell you. Like, it is just like the scale of graft and corruption, even compared to the first Trump administration, which was extremely corruption laden, is just astounding. Like, I really do not think that we are emphasizing enough the like looting of the treasury, that like the absolute
Taxpayer dollars, taxpayer debt, taxpayer
like it's
funded
like
debt.
Putin
basically.
level corruption shit happening now, and
Democracy
as I
is
said,
dead.
it's dead. It's died. It's dead.
dead.
Trump took a big steamy shit on its grave. It's gone.
Well,
It's
now
done.
we have this weird. I don't know what you do. It's not really democracy. It's a system where occasionally
illiberal democracy is what it's called, where it's like still like nominally a democracy, but like not really. I mean, you look at all the, the Democrats are like 8 seats behind in terms of their like redistricting fight across all of these different states, trying to gerrymander their seats before the midterms sort of thing, and the Republicans have gerrymandered 8 more seats than the Democrats have at this exact point in time. Like, the whole thing is a farce. It's ridiculous. It's a democracy in name only, right? The man is trying to make himself king. You don't build a fucking Arc de Trump and a $1 billion ballroom as a renter, okay? He's looking to not leave.
Well, he wants legacy. That's the
The legacy of him being president for the rest of his natural life. That's what he wants.
Well, if he dies within the next 2 years, then yeah, he will have been president for the rest of his natural life.
Yes, and we're not even halfway through it, are we? We're like a year
Oh,
and a
God.
half.
Oh, fuck no. No, we've still got more hell to come.
I think he's going to kill me before he dies. Like, I like the amount
Stop
of
reading
stress
books, George.
and anxiety that this is causing.
Stop reading books.
Stop reading books, Adam Doreen, 2026.
Michael Wolff. If he writes a book, don't read it.
I was just about to read
No,
Fight about the latest
don't do
election.
No, don't read it. You'll cry.
I think I'm going to read the one about Stoic philosophy instead, Marcus Aurelius. I think that might be a calming read.
Just read a hot, dirty novel.
Oh, I'm
One of
also
those ones.
reading A Feast for
yeah.
Crows. Like, I'm still reading Game of Thrones and stuff.
No,
like,
no,
I read
no.
other things.
No, you
I
gotta go
read the
into
things.
the-
I read How Nations Fail to get angry, and then I read A Feast for Crows to go to sleep. That's the progression.
No, you
Is
need
there a
to
lot of
get
sex
into,
in A Feast for
Yeah,
Crows?
you need
There's
to
some,
go in.
yeah.
You need to go into the really horny, like romantasy genre.
That's
Like,
not my
you
thing.
need like
That's what I was getting at.
you
The
need like
Fourth
some
Wing
serious
and
like
yeah,
the animated
Hunters.
paperback.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Rebecca Yarros horny, sort of Outlander type novels. I
Yes.
can't. No, it's not my thing.
Do it. At
No, I
1.25
meant
speed.
even more like filthily horny. Like we're talking like man falls in love with unicorn kind of stuff.
Oh,
Like,
that's
the
really horny. Yeah,
the
that's
really
extra.
depraved stuff. Yeah.
Speaking of
Depraved.
the budget.
Incredible.
The budget.
Crazy work, Adam.
The fallout from last week's depraved socialist communist.
Jim Chalmers'
Budget.
Communist Manifesto.
Yes,
As the Daily Telegraph called it. Yeah.
has continued. It's become quite clear that people don't really understand what's actually being proposed.
Yes,
and
including the
changes.
reporters on the Today Show. You guys saw that clip of that reporter
yeah.
asking, but hang on, like, people are going to lose their negative gearing rights. And she's
In
like,
12 months, like, right? Like, in 12 months, no one
It
can
cuts
negatively
off.
gear. They're like, no, actually, that's not the
No,
case.
did you
And
read it?
You saw
did you look at the policy before you got
Yeah.
on air and started talking about it? You fucking idiot.
He did not.
Yeah.
So we spoke about last week that basically the budget doesn't really do anything in the short term for anyone's cost of living, or doesn't actually materially change anyone's.
Well, Michelle Bullock
circumstances.
gave him a good scolding before it came out, being like, don't you help people too much or I'm going to whack him with interest rate
Yes.
rises.
Yeah. So and there are reasons for that, right? It's not like they're disregarding people. They don't want to kick inflation or ruin the budget.
Yeah, I wonder if,
at the
the
moment,
war in Iran has more to do with inflation than our domestic demand circumstances.
don't worry
I don't
about it.
know.
No, it's all
Maybe it's the
Labour's
fact
fault.
that oil is now a scarce commodity and 20% of the supply of it has been choked off because of one
Communism,
fucking
George.
idiot on Pennsylvania Avenue.
communism.
Oh, Labour's spending too much domestically in Victoria. I'm like,
Yeah.
right. And the once in a generation global oil shock also might have something to do with it, right?
It has been interesting. Yeah, I mean, they've copped it from this budget doesn't repair the deficit enough. This budget is a communist wealth redistribution.
How can it
this-
be tax and spend and also not improve people's lives and not
Yeah.
improve the deficit enough? You got to pick two
depending
of those
on
three things.
depending
right?
on the commentator, right? Like it's a variety of commentators. So anyway, the Labor ministers, the Labor folk have gone out and started to try and sell it now. So they are out there. Labor asked for a $10 donation from its members this week to try and sell this budget.
Well,
and to be fair,
according to their internal polling, from what I've heard, based on what was looked at before announcing these things, they kind of thought it would be pretty popular. But yeah, to your point, Adam, it doesn't address any of the immediate material circumstances of the cost of living crisis that people are experiencing right now. And so, given that Murdoch media spin machine attacking it, and even like media organizations like the Daily Oz, who is running polls and commentary on behalf of like some housing group, even their commentary around it, which is like a very youth focused, like Instagram sort of news channel, has been, I would say, pretty heavy handed towards Jim Chalmers. Like in the wake of the spin cycle, they've now found themselves, Labor's now found themselves on the back foot and having to defend the budget, right? Even though I would agree on the merits, these are all necessary structural changes that needed to happen, right?
We're heading to a situation which, not unlike The Voice, where, internal polling, the polling at the election was good. They voted in. This was one of our policies. That was what happened with The Voice. And then once the reality on the ground starts to kick into it.
Once the Advance Australia propaganda cannon starts shooting, then all of a sudden people start
and all of a
changing
sudden people
their
go,
minds.
I don't know about that. And, and there are people that are affected.
I was going to become a 10 property investor. Oh, man. Oh, shucks. I've lost my property investing fucking path to wealth.
That's the key argument of the Conservative movement and opponents of the changes is that, well,
you too can
actually,
stooge the taxpayer if it weren't for Labor.
With it hurts the investor class, and we can't become investors now.
Oh, no, not the investor class. Oh, somebody think of the investor class. Oh, fuck, what are we going to do?
There are a lot of particularly young men who have turned to things like crypto, day trading. Effectively, I would argue it's almost like online gambling to some extent. But they are building their wealth.
I say this as someone who owns crypto. It is gambling. That's all it is. It's based on nothing. It's even less based on anything than the share market, which is also based on nothing.
So there is a class of people that have sort of given up on wealth. Well, not given up, but they have found that this concept of, well, the only way to get ahead is to invest in assets, whether they be shares or crypto or whatever, other than property included. But what that means is that these changes also affect those people. So there is a younger cohort here of 20 to 30-year-olds, if not younger, that are going, well, now I have to pay extra tax on my shares that I sell.
You have to pay money on the fake thing that you bought for $1 and sold for $2. You have to pay tax.
Anyway.
Oh, fuck, man. Can't fucking do it, man. Oh, fuck. Fuck
what that
off.
means is Labor's all of a sudden their messaging and for all the media trading they did prior to the budget announcement, they're finding themselves in the back foot. And my point last week was that they are going to get ripped for this, and people are going to start switching to One Nation, and because the material circumstances of people on the ground aren't changing. And there's an interesting story here which we'll talk about some of those material circumstances. So there is housing's expensive. There is a Facebook group, and I've got to find it now, the name of it, but it's called Single Mothers and Their Children.
The Council of Single Mothers.
Council of Single Mothers and Their Children. Yeah. And it's basically a Facebook group for single mothers who are looking for places to live, basically, to come together and potentially to live in like house sharing, flatmates, basically, with their kids.
Communal housing arrangements with other single mothers.
Yeah, which is, for the people that have been doing it, it's been a really positive thing.
For the two families that were profiled in this one ABC story, it's been a positive situation. I think the headline, rather than single mums are seeking each other out and turning to shared housing and framing it as a good news story from the ABC, I would argue that the real story is cost of living crisis deepens and worsens to the extent that single mothers are forced to turn to communal living in order to make rent. Like that, it's the deeper structural problem, which the ABC is really not kind of addressing in this article, right?
Yeah.
And it talks about the higher rates of homelessness for single mothers and some of the structural problems, but then like frames house sharing as a solution, which it is very much not for most people. Like just an absolutely shit take from the ABC on this one, as far as I could tell.
Nearly 1 in 3 single parents live in poverty. And of women are overwhelmingly represented, making up 85% of single parent families. So it used to be, even in families where there's a mother and a father, and the dad would go off and work. It's a single income household, right? Is this concept so owning a home or living in a home, renting in a home? It's a single income household. Now, even to get a 2-bedroom apartment, even if you're renting, is on a single income.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
It's difficult. Yeah.
It's extremely difficult.
And single mothers in particular will be
discriminated against.
Will be discriminated against because they know, landlords know that they're a vulnerable cohort and then they may not be able to make rent. And so therefore they're much less likely to actually be able to get a place in the first instance, right?
Yeah. So this is the thing, is that this budget doesn't really change the situation on the ground in the short term. But you might argue, well, there's nothing you really can do in the short term. It does address the structural inequity, and it does change perhaps how things will work in the future, but it's not going to happen soon. But I guess my point is, and I said this last week, Labor needs to change the way they're messaging this to reframe it from a political point of view. And what we need to find are ways, governments, whether they be state or federal or local, need to find ways to support the situation on the ground, so to speak. And I don't know what the answer to that is, but
it's probably not cutting $14 billion out of the NDIS. I reckon that's probably not part of it.
No.
Yeah, that crossover, I imagine, is also a very terrible circle of stuff.
Well, if you especially
who need NDIS funding, and also
if you're a single mum who has a disabled kid,
Tom, you're in Sydney. The rentals in Sydney are broken. If you were to, could you afford your apartment on a single income? What you're living at the moment?
You'd have to be pretty decently paying job. It's probably a thing of I could if I was just completely on baseline, not saving, not any of that. If you just had purely the
and
weekly
what if you had a
coming
kid?
in, have a kid. Oh hell no! Have not had a kid myself, but as I understand, expensive. So yeah, adding that expense on top, crazy. No,
as a kid haver, I can tell you, even with both of you working, you're not saving a hell of a lot of money either, right?
Yeah,
so,
not a chance.
And so what this means is we have a situation where we have another article from the ABC here, where they've interviewed a lady by the name of Silvana Rota. And who
looks like a great time. Silvana looks like fun, doesn't she?
She's thought through it.
She's got this dour grimace in the profile photo of her. And she's just, Silvana's had enough. No muck around. No bloody muck around with Silvana. She not having the labour no more. No thank you.
She is the children of immigrants. She's a child, of an immigrant
And I'm
family.
Italian and Greek, so I can do that. That's not racist because I did it. Okay, you guys can't do it.
The reason why you're doing it
let me tell you now, you can't do this. Okay, I can do this accent. You can't do this.
Okay.
Forget about it.
But she's aware of all these problems, right? So it's not like she can see the problems on the ground. But her answer is, well, let's try one nation.
No, Silvana, no.
Oh boy.
The Liberals, the coalition aren't working for me. Labor aren't working for me. Let's go to the third I would like to see what's behind door number 3.
Did she even give the Greens a Google? Silvana, I've got news for you.
Yeah, the Greens. They're not real.
I've got news for you, Silvana. One Nation don't like us either, Silvana. Okay? Because I tell you what, when they start lining people up, Silvana, we're on the list.
Yep.
Okay? We're on the list. Tom and Adam are all on the fucking list. If you got a last name like Rota or Tsipos or Rajesh, I tell you what, you're on the fucking list. You're not top on the list, but you're on the list. Okay? One Nation is not the way to go, Silvana. I hate to tell you this.
So the reason why the ABC are interviewing Silvana, obviously, is because One Nation's polling is going through the roof. They, obviously did very well in Farah. They did well in the South Australian. They did okay.
Well,
in South Australian
yeah,
election.
it's like they won Farah, and they prior to that had some serious gains in numbers in South Australia. Not enough to
where
do
they are
anything,
now
but
the coalition.
scarily.
They are the
They're making
opposition.
gains.
To where they are believably potentially going to be the coalition in the future. Is it going to be like a trio coalition? Are the Nationals going to ditch the Liberals and go to One Nation?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So the next election in Australia is the New South Wales state election. Or at least, that's what I'm led to believe. I don't think there's another
Oh
election
shit.
before
I feel
this.
I should know that.
It's in a year or two, so...
Being
okay.
a New South Welshman, yeah, it's in March
yeah.
of next year.
Oh, great.
Now, because of this, One Nation, who previously, have sort of only run a couple of candidates, Mark Latham got in, and then quit and was fired, or I don't know, whatever. They're trying to now, and I suspect federally as well, they will be trying to cobble together candidates in as many seats as possible, which will all be top quality.
Top
team
shelf.
candidates.
Yeah, it's going to be the McAllen of candidates. Top
Only
shelf.
the best.
Only the best.
Um,
Now,
So the
we've
point
got a
being
new-
here is-
we got a
yeah.
new question on the questionnaire. Have you ever mowed a SWAT sticker into your lawn? This is an important one. Have you? Yes or no?
Yes or no? Have you changed your name and wanted for not showing up to court in the United Kingdom?
Yeah. Are you a wanted man? Yes
Yeah.
or no? Be honest.
anyway,
Did you smear blood on someone's door in Parliament
Yeah.
House?
Yeah, did you
Did
do
you?
that? Be honest.
Be
we
honest.
will not check, but
We
be
won't
honest.
check,
Yeah.
but it will embarrass us
Yeah.
about a week ahead of an election 3 months from now. So you got to be honest.
So this is all just cherry picked news stories to prove the story that I think is prevalent, which is that this budget plays into One Nation's hands and is actually it's going to get worse for Labor, not better. They wanted to expend political capital. Well, they're going to expend a lot of it to be able to get this to happen. Speaking of expending capital, Anthropic is paying SpaceX $15 billion a year to use their data center.
Oh, to use their data center. I was going to say,
Yeah.
does Claude need space?
Claude
Yes.
in space.
Like, is there something
needs-
about the sheer
It needs
cosmos
disk
of space?
space.
Right, I was going to say, yeah, is there
Very
something about
good.
the sheer cosmos of space and time that Claude needs to run? Like, I know data centers chew up a lot of water and electricity and all this other sort of stuff, but if you need, fucking to break general relativity just for,
So
Claude Opus 4.7 to do anything at 15 times token usage, might
Yeah.
I add.
So-
XAI is
Yeah.
owned by SpaceX.
Yes.
The data centers that they are pumping money into, or they're paying to use.
Colossus, Colossus 1 and Colossus 2, which are Elon Musk's centers. There's actually a great a podcast series on search engine about the establishment of these Colossus data centers and the community around it and their sort of response to all of it and how quickly it was all sort of cobbled together and sort of rammed through, so I think there's been a lot of consternation around these Colossus data centers that are, and when we say Colossus, they are legitimately fucking gigantic, huge, cities that he's essentially building to create these, in the form of a data center to power this AI build out, both for Grok and I guess, XAI, SpaceX, all the sort of shit that he's doing. So basically what Anthropic has done is they're paying $1.25 billion per month
A month.
through to May 2029 to get access to this compute. And you'll know if you've been on the Claude subreddit, as I have been, there's been a lot of people whinging in recent months. There were a bunch of changes that got pushed through to Claude in terms of sort of restricting people's usage, new session limits and token limit, and people saying that their token usage was getting
Trying to
chewed up
throttle it.
too quickly, and then issues with, they said, we pushed through some changes, and that's what was causing your tokens to be chewed up too quickly, and we've reverted those changes, but people still felt that after that it was still worse than what it had been previously, and the kinds of changes that they were making around not allowing Claude to reason too much in its internal sort of... It seemed like, to my mind, it's pretty obvious that Anthropic is compute limited, right? They just haven't got, for the subscriber base and for all these people that are using the Claude product and they're using it to generate, inference.
Growth is outstripping their ability to
The
supply.
subscriber growth is outpacing their ability to actually service this growth. And you've got the Opus models and now the Mythos model, which we'll talk about in a sec, which would be even more token hungry. So, and they're prioritizing, or it seems like they're prioritizing enterprise over individual subscribers. And there was some talk about whether they were going to include Claude Code in the commercial pro plans that they've got out there, because obviously that's very usage intensive, right? So there's been clearly they're compute limited to some degree. And then obviously that's why on the announcement of this, Anthropic turned around and said, we're doubling your usage limits, right? Because now we've got access to all this compute. So clearly they've been fighting this sort of like battle, right?
It's just
Tom,
like,
you have opinions.
We're running low on compute. Oh jeez, it's not enough for the amount of people. What can we do? Oh, maybe it's because you told everyone to fucking shove AI into fucking everything, you fucking morons. Solve all your problems with a large language model. It can do anything. Tell your kids to kill themselves. Do your accounting. Like, do it. Like, fuck reckless abandon. Safeguards. Don't know her. Like, let's just shove it into everything. But oh no, now we can't compute it enough. So let's give Elon Musk more money.
Counterpoint.
Do you use Claude?
Have you used the Claude extension in Excel? It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's great. And maybe for things in Excel or in software development, like I've used it in software development.
Claude Code's great. I've used it. Yeah.
But then there's people being like, oh, but do you really love me, waifu? And it's like, yes, I do. And I'm like,
using
great.
it as a therapist or whatever. Yeah, there's a bunch of dog shit.
My Starbucks barista needs to fucking find out how to make a frappuccino by talking to Claude about it rather than knowing it. Like, Jesus Christ.
The timing of this is interesting on a couple of fronts. First one, they're paying SpaceX. SpaceX is about to IPO. It's going to IPO.
Oh boy.
For according to the headline, which I've just been blocked on because I haven't got the subscription to it, but the headline is
pay for news,
2.5.
Pay for news,
I need
you
to pay
piece
for
of
this.
shit.
I know, I'm a cuck. 2.5 trillion with a T.
I've seen estimates between 1 and 2 trillion for this initial public offering.
That's a wide margin.
Trillion.
It's a margin of about $1 trillion.
Trillion dollars.
Yeah.
That is...
To clarify, it took Apple 40 years or something to become the first $1 trillion company, and they're just going to open at a trill. Just a hard trill.
Their revenue's only like 18 billion a year or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, how...
Like,
I've said many times on this show, I don't understand the funny money, but
Tom, I think you understand it just fine.
I think you
it's hype.
This is hype.
Fucking SpaceX. I think
a lot of the
what
Tesla...
are they profiting?
I know.
The Tesla guys are jumping ship.
A lot of it is, Tesla is so overvalued as a company. You look at the price to earnings ratio of Tesla, one car company, which does a small percentage of the cars created and sold in the United States versus the rest of the American car industry, and it like dwarfs it by orders of magnitude, worth more than Ford, all of these other, major motor companies that have been around for decades that turn out more cars, sell more cars. Like Tesla is worth orders of magnitude more than all of these other companies put together. It is a valuation that is based on vibes at this point. And I think a lot of people are realizing that what Tesla would need to do in order to actually realize the gains of all this investor money that's poured in, vastly outstrip any company's ability to do anything.
Yeah.
And so I think to Adam's point, a lot of these investors are going, oh, okay, well, SpaceX is the new thing and that'll be the new frontier. That's where we're going to
We love Elon. Let's go to the next Elon project.
Because I bought a bunch of Tesla shares in 2012 and now I'm a millionaire. So obviously the man can do no wrong, right? He's created a lot of value on paper for people that buy his shares. If there is one thing that Elon is good at, it is hyping his fucking products, right?
And there is only one thing.
And there may only be one thing. Cool. He's not a good dad. He's a real piece of shit. Seems like he's a fucking neo-Nazi. So white supremacist bullshit that he keeps posting all the time. So he may only be good at one thing, and that's hyping up his bullshit companies. Now, Will there be a comeuppance where everything comes crashing down? I don't know. People think that AI is a bubble, but if you look at Anthropic and OpenAI's revenues, they are demonstrating real massive fast revenue growth month over month, year over year over the last couple of years, to the extent to which you could start to see where these look like real businesses. It doesn't seem like the sort of
they're
thing
hitting
where
the compute limits.
they're hitting compute, yes, and there are all these difficulties with the build out and all this sort of stuff. But what I'm saying is, I think for the doomers that are saying, "Oh, the AI bubble's just about to pop and everything's," it's not looking like that. Like these are legitimately now, and in Anthropic's case, multi-billion-dollar companies with real demonstrated revenue growth, right? So it's harder. It's getting harder and harder to make the case that it's built on fluff and bullshit when you see this kind of adoption, subscription growth, revenue growth. Like it starts to become a real company.
SpaceX
right?
can't be like that's the thing though, is that I don't understand how SpaceX can.
They might just pivot to becoming a fucking compute provider. If in the gold rush, the people that make the most money are the ones who sell shovels, right? Allbirds, the shoe company, right? I've got a pair of Allbirds sitting in my closet somewhere. The Natural Shoe Company has pivoted to becoming a data center provider. They announced it like a month and a half ago. That's a hell of a pivot, right? Because there's gold in them, their hills, and that's where they're headed. They're headed to sell shovels, right?
Do you think maybe the next like if everyone needs data centers which require power, is the next gold rush the power providers that sell the power to
It's
the
actually
data
funny.
centers?
It's actually funny that you say that, because a lot of the interviews that I've been hearing on Bloomberg, this is 3-6 months ago, were asking this exact question. Like, what are the second and third order effects from this data center build out? Well, it's going to be power, it's going to be utilities, it's going to be infrastructure, it's going to be all of these things. Obviously, Nvidia is the most obvious second order effect, but like second and third order effects beyond that, in terms of RAM and computer chips, and like there's all of these inputs that goes into
power has to
power generation is absolutely a massive part of it. And there's people that are now working in like structuring particular like financial instruments and debt instruments to provide cash flow to organizations that are looking to do debt-funded data center build-out. Obviously, that becomes very dangerous if you start talking about collateralized debt obligations and securitizing debt for an asset class which is appreciating very quickly and might pop. What does that remind you of? The global financial crisis, right? So there's a lot of concern and strum and dram and consternation about all of this. Yeah. But there are people who have been thinking about this for some time now that are building out not just the physical infrastructure to support this expansion in AI, but also the financial instruments and the funding and the credit.
If this will start pushing us
build it out
towards
as well.
fusion.
There are people that are talking about that. Investors that are putting money into fusion energy for data center build-outs, for nuclear.
Fusion would actually, honestly, fusion would solve like a lot of problems.
Excuse me, I've seen Spider-Man 2, and when they build the fusion reactor, we get fucking Dr. Octopus, and also the acting performance of 2004.
And we get a nuke in the Hudson. I don't know. I don't think
the power of the sun in the palm of my hand. Like, it'd just be dangerous as hell. The thing that, like this is again anecdotally in the sense of, I saw a post sort of everywhere, but you're seeing them sort of frequently enough that kind of the stories are like trickling down of businesses finding that their AI usage is too expensive.
Yes.
That Uber allegedly burnt through all their AI budget in 4 months that they had budgeted for the year and all that sort of stuff. So that while fucking Anthropic scaling up with these data centers and things like that, if the businesses are suddenly realizing it costs more to use all these AI models instead of paying people for them, that you might see quite a shrink in the utility of the AIs, which is kind of what I'm hoping for, in that people sort of realize it's useful for this, but bots telling teenagers that they love them will hopefully fucking go away because it's too expensive.
It absolutely has discrete business utilities. I agree with you, all the fucking self-therapy and waifu stuff and people using the idea of having a free OpenAI account, I think, is going to go away at some point for this exact reason.
Well, surely they couldn't afford it.
They're just so basically, we had this, in the last decade or so with Uber. This is what venture capital does. It comes in, funds massive expansions in these tech companies,
buys up all the
and to the extent that Uber was sort of funding this, it meant that or the venture capital was funding Uber, meant that they could increase their market share really rapidly. It's a strategy called blitzscaling. You get a bunch of venture capital, you create a product, you penetrate into a market deeply, you maybe even take a loss because you can burn investor money in the meantime while you do it.
It's not making any money at the start.
Once you've captured enough of the market, then you really start to crank up the rates because now you've got market share, you've got a moat around you, right? And this is
People
why
have fear of change. They don't want to change. They'll just stick with you because they can.
and they'll stick with you because that's what Uber. Yeah, it's more expensive than just calling the pizza shop and getting a delivery, but it's all in the app. It's super easy. I've got the Uber One account now. Like it's all.
I've changed my behavior.
I've changed my behavior.
Adapt to this.
And so now I'm embedded, right? And then they can slowly and shitify the product and turn it up and make it more expensive and extract more profit out of you and actually start to return a profit. This is why Uber and other services like this are referred to in the last decade as the millennial lifestyle subsidy. Basically, we were all getting cheap Uber Eats for the last decade because VC was funding this, they were running it at a loss in order to facilitate this blitzscaling strategy. And now it's embedded. Now it's a profitable business because they can crank up the rates. They've captured the market. This is just kind of the nature of subscription businesses, right? To a certain extent, backed by venture capital. I could absolutely see a scenario.
Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix, exactly. Perfect example. I could absolutely see a scenario where Anthropic and OpenAI and Google all turn around and say, actually, as of tomorrow, our tokens are twice as expensive. Because if you are replacing workers with AI,
people have to go with it because they've got no option.
Right. Say that does happen. If you can get rid of 10 employees, right? What is the value of that to you as the business? It's the cost of those 10 employees minus $1. If it is $1 more efficient for you to get rid of 10 employees, which cost you $1 million to hire those 10 employees, if your Anthropic subscription is $995,000, it's still worth it. You're still $5,000 better off as a business, right? So the economics of this are going to change, I think, to my mind, going forward, because these large AI companies are going to see if they are really providing the value of tens of thousands of dollars worth of employment hours. Well, they'd be entitled to charge. Yes, there's competition, but if you can reliably execute a strategy that halves your workforce, and it costs you, say, a quarter of what your workforce used to cost, well, then you're still ahead, right? That's the
but until doing that means that all those people you just laid off now can't afford to buy your product, and therefore you have fewer customers because we've just.
But that's why they're focusing on enterprise. But they're not really interested in the pro plan. The pro plan that
I meant just generally. I meant the Anthropic. Not Anthropic, to the business that is now using Claude instead of employees. Those people they've fired now can't get work because everyone's doing.
We're making a lot of assumptions here. We're assuming that that's how it's going to play out. I personally am not actually convinced there's going to be massive job losses from AI.
I think it's just going to be turbulent. I think we don't know how it's going to land because, again, we don't know what the competition factor is going to be. We know there's a couple of major players, but
and there's open source models and there's other things as well. I run an open source large language model on my computer, which costs me $0, right? So there are other alternatives. They're not quite as good as the cutting edge frontier models, and they're slower and there's more expensive, sort of take longer to run and all that sort of stuff because I'm doing it locally. But where Qwen and some of these other open source models, Llama, and where these are at now is where Anthropic was like 9 months ago, and I can run it locally on my computer for $0, right? So I do think there are those two competing things of like, say it does replace every job in the market, it only needs to do so for the $1 less than the cost of all those jobs. But then you've also got this open source thing, which is kind of trailing by like 6 or 9 months. That might be catching up to it pretty far. If I can run Opus 4.7 level coding locally on my machine for $0, then all of a sudden, like Anthropic's value proposition ceases to exist, right?
Finish my point, which was that there's those factors, plus risk aversion, plus change management,
100%.
plus onboarding and the cost of physically doing the thing that you want to change. So all these things, it's not a clear picture as to how this is going to land, and as to how, these various companies, with all the money that's being poured in, are actually going to function in the long term. Yes, Netflix, was the unicorn of streaming, but now there's 10 other apps that are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And, they're, I don't know what their market share is like, actually, to be fair, but
It's
I
still
imagine
substantial,
that it's...
but it's not what it was 5 years ago,
Yeah.
right? Like their subscriber growth has slowed significantly. That's why they're cranking up the rates, right?
So anyway, there's
but
a
knowing
ceiling
what's
to where these
involved
companies
in
go.
organizational change and implementing these things,
Yeah.
and as you say, to your point, Adam, training and changing behavior. And I think the idea that some magic model's just going to drop tomorrow that negates all of work, I just don't see it happening, because to implement these things and to train them and use, like, I think AI's got incredible discrete use cases in specific areas of business for specific purposes if used in the right way. That's a lot of qualifiers right there. That is in between that and it's going to replace all jobs tomorrow if the magic model comes out. It's just not going to happen, right? So people still need to do things in the economy. They still need to buy services. You still need to get your coffee. You still need to someone needs to come and take the bins. Like, none of that physical world stuff goes away, even if a couple of few discrete industries stop growing as fast as they otherwise might have grown, or peter out. Like, this is the constant state of the economy, is change, right? So there will be other jobs built on new AI shit that we haven't even conceived of yet that will exist in 5 years, right?
Speaking of, the economy and different ways of doing things, selling Pokemon cards is now, or has been for a while, really, to be fair, a quite a lucrative little venture.
We could just all get into Pokemon card trading, I guess, when everything goes tits up.
What is value?
I wish my mum had not thrown out my shiny Charizard. I reckon she threw out my Pokemon card. She goes, no, I never would have thrown out your Pokemon cards. Where did they go then, Grace? Where are they?
Yeah.
Could be sitting on a house deposit on those Pokemon cards.
I never would have thrown out your shiny cardboard bullshit. Like, already you didn't seem to think they were very good now, did you? Sounds like someone threw them out.
I had a shiny Charizard. Okay?
You could be a millionaire.
But I'm not.
During the pandemic, who was it? PewDiePie or whoever it was sold his Pikachu for $22.
Logan Paul, one of the other shithead internet personalities.
Sorry, they just blur into.
I was getting my racist white internet personalities mixed up with one of them. I was mixing up my white supremacist gamer shithead American. Yeah.
Anyway, so for people that have been living under a rock, Pokemon cards are worth quite a lot. No one played. Who knows how to play the Pokemon card trading game? No one.
I think I knew in the late 90s.
Yeah, in 99 I knew how to play it. I also knew how to play Magic the Gathering, but I've made way for other information like, how much money is coming out of the NDIS, for example. That's the kind of information that takes up space in my brain nowadays.
Tom, could you play the Pokemon cards trading game if you were thrown it in front of you? Could you pick it up and run with it?
Could I pick it up and run with it? Well, I don't know. Improvising skills could come in handy. I could make up the game that I'm playing with enough confidence that it sounds like I know what I'm doing. But no,
just like Donald Trump.
Absolutely no idea how to play Pokemon cards.
I reckon it's mana cards, and then you have each turn you play a card, and then you got to have enough mana to utilize one of the abilities.
The point you've lost me already.
There's water cards. There's fire cards. And if you want to use the super breath from Charizard, you got to have 4 fire cards out. So it's a strategic. It's fun. I remember it was fun.
There are rules. Another special interest. Quick, Adam, get us out of here. Get us out of here.
I'm out of the Pokemon card game. I'm out. I have been out since the fucking early 2000s.
The point being is, it started off as a game, but they are literally just trading cards at this point in time, really, for all intents and purposes. And organised. Well, when I say organised crime in general, people that are organised or unorganised have cottoned on to this to the point where in Melbourne, trading card-related crimes in Victoria rose from just 9 burglary, break-in and enter, or theft cases at retail stores in 2021. So in 2021, there were 9 crime-related things to Pokemon trading cards.
I also remember it was quiet during 2021 for reasons that we all recall, right? But yes, go on.
Really? What happened?
What happened?
In 2025, it is 1 a week.
Yep, so we're hitting a good 52 now.
So people are cottoning on to the value of it, and they're hitting up a lot of these retail hobby shop owners, going in, they're an easy target, I guess, smashing the front door.
Smash and grab. There's some
Smash
footage
and grab,
in one
grab
of the
the
articles
cards.
here. It looks like a jewelry heist. They're going in.
Yeah,
they've got a
literally.
bat. They're smashing it. Smashing, smash. Take all the cards. Put them in a bucket. You run them out to the car. I'll keep smashing. Like
Well, yeah,
it's like a
similar-
jewelry store.
Similar
smash and grab.
to the appeal of, like, I was about to say the appeal of robbing a jewelry store, but they are small and valuable. Like,
Yes.
right? You're not hawking like giant gold bullion or something out of places. Like, these are small things that you can smash and get out. But also, unlike a jewelry store,
no
your guy
serial
running
numbers,
a
there's
hobby shop. Probably it's not Fort Knox, because you're not expecting, like, I'm not a target for an organized, like,
Yeah,
crime
you haven't
hit.
got Rolexes, and then you put them. You close the window,
have
and then you put them in the safe, or
Little
like it's not.
rectangles of cardboard.
Yeah,
Sitting on a desk.
You know what though? To my mind, still worth more than cryptocurrency, because at the end of the day,
You've actually got a thing.
you pay $1,000 and you actually have a card at the end of it. Unlike cryptocurrency,
Yeah,
where you
yeah,
just see a
these,
number on a screen. At least you have a
yeah.
fucking shiny Charizard card at the end of it.
Yeah. have
These
the
are
blockchain.
fungible tokens. And
Very
they are
fungible.
great.
So now it's at the point now where these local small businesses are basically locking these cards up like they're jewelry.
Yeah, like they're taking the Rolexes out of the window on Collins Street. That's what's happening now, because you have to.
Insane.
Yeah.
Is it because it's like peak nostalgia now? Like there's an article
Oh,
here
yeah,
about
nostalgia
why Pokemon
sells.
cards are popular again. It's because our generation are now sufficiently advanced enough in age that it's like the things from our youth are now like nostalgia
buy
culture, and we can
buy some jewelry, buy a nice ring or something. Like, don't invest in gold. Like, why are we? The fact that a Pokemon card, when we talk about value, like, I know value is just the number that we put to things.
Careful,
Yeah,
Adam.
like
You're
someone
straying
is-
into NBA territory.
I understand the
Go
value
on.
is just whatever we feel. It's our
Whatever
feelings.
someone is willing to pay for.
I
There you
know,
go.
I know this, but there is no utility in Pokemon cards.
How is there utility in fucking Bitcoin?
Bitcoin is blockchain, and there is
Oh, it's
utility.
blockchain.
There is utility.
I didn't realize it was blockchain. Thanks, Adam. That
There
fully
is
explains
utility.
everything now.
No
There
utility,
is utility
in Pokemon
in
cards.
crypto as a concept, right? A
Which
Pokemon
is
card
what?
doesn't. It just
Explain the utility
is
of crypto
We
for me
play the
quickly.
game that no one knows how to play.
People know how to play. It's like anything.
Yeah.
Like to a certain extent, this is all Dutch tulip crisis, right? A piece of cardboard is not fundamentally worth more than a piece of a bit on a blockchain. Is not like obviously worth, but I would say that stocks or shares or an investment in a business, like creates productive capacity, which is like good for actual people's lives, right? But also like if you own a stock of Apple, like it is a company with like assets and products and revenue, and like you're owning a small part of a real thing. Whereas like I kind of feel like all of these other speculative instruments, be it blockchain, be it fucking shiny Charizard
thing is
cards, it's all fucking Dutch tulip crisis. It is worth what someone else is willing to pay for it, as Tom said.
When
And-
crypto-
but also nothing has fundamental value. Like even that Apple share is based
Fundamental
on
utility.
what people think people in the future would be willing to pay for that thing. Like
And there are also things that were like the very companies that produced like Pokemon cards, Magic the Gathering cards, like all that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like artificial scarcity. Like they have drop rates of more valuable stuff to make it. God, you could go on forever about this sort of stuff because then
And
creation.
Pokemon,
you've just
by the way,
identified the
as,
central flaw at the center of capitalism with that, which is that value and price are essentially completely decoupled and everything is meaningless. Congratulations.
Pokemon, by the way,
Welcome
is
to the
like-
resistance.
Is the largest what is it, media franchise or like merchandising franchise? Or something?
Definitely up there.
Yeah, it's one of the
in the
largest
world.
brands in the world.
Yeah,
Like
something crazy.
You know, I was listening to a thing on Behind the Bastards where they were talking about how at that year's Comic-Con, all the manga stuff, or Pokemon and Capcom and Bandai Namco and all this stuff was like outpacing in terms of like the size and the presence at this con was like much bigger than like Marvel and DC and like all these traditional publishing houses for this kind of sort of comic book media that's been out there in the past. These are massive multinational organizations now, right? Pokemon being one of those brands, right?
And we've got
And along with Hello Kitty.
Yeah. We've got Imagine Bubba in the chat saying scalpers are wrecking it for us players. And yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
man,
that's the
yeah, I was gonna say,
if you do want
get
to
in
use
line.
the utility of the card, which is to play the game,
Yeah.
it gets harder for you because you can't get the cards because people are just scalping them.
Yeah, it's the real get in line thing. Like, so many industries have been ruined by that. Like, remember, when the PlayStation 5 was coming out in 2020, and in the middle of a resources like shortage and supply shocks from COVID and everything. So the only way to get a
That's what they
PS5
said
was
to
from
us.
scalpers doing it. And same with
The
PC
invisible
parts and
hand job of the
RAM
market.
right now, and and sneakers and concert tickets.
But this is what any area which has any area where you see growth like this attracts speculators, attracts scalpers, attract people trying to make money off using the sort of greater idiot theory. I bought it for $1,000. Maybe some idiot is an even bigger idiot than me will buy it for $1,001, right? But that's what speculation is to a certain degree. Like, the closer you get to realizing that, as Tom said, money is kind of inherently meaningless. It's all just numbers. Like, it's the value that we ascribe to things at the end of the day.
And I think where this kind of becomes more well, at least I think among more rational sort of thinking people, not like the fucking crypto bro dickheads, but like comparing like Pokemon cards and like sneakers and all this sort of stuff compared to like blockchain sort of things, is that these are also areas of passion for people. Like, they can only get away and like have the values of these. Scalpers only work because there's
People
more
care
than the
about
drive of I like playing Pokemon. You know, there's I like playing Pokemon cards. I'll play a game. Like, if George busted out his kit and said, "Do you want to have a round?" I'd be like, "Oh, I'll give it a go." But then there'd be people who are like, I fucking love Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
I'm really passionate about it. Or I fucking love my sneakers. I love my Air Jordans, my X, Y, and
Games
Z.
Workshop,
And
right?
you can capitalize on that. Yeah, Games Workshop's another great example. Just this, I have a passion for tabletop wargaming. And so then when something is rare, people will see, because you like it, it's something you like on this miserable planet in the middle of your like crazy, awful existence. Like, between death, taxes, and all the things in between, this is one thing you like, and I'm gonna make you suffer to get it. You fucking piece of shit. I hate scalpers, man.
I agree, but what we're coming back around to is the central problem of demand. When there's demand for a thing, no matter what that thing is, that thing could be useful or fundamentally useless. When there's more demand than there is supply, the price of things go up. We're also circling back to the thing we talked about last week, which is investors in housing, and how that has changed from a commodity, a single, a shelter, that has now transformed to an instrument of speculation. Whenever something turns into an instrument of speculation where people can make money on it, it kind of ruins that thing, which is why Dutch people in the late 1600s were paying the equivalent of a house deposit for a bunch of tulips. And then all of a sudden they realized tulips are just flowers, so we can grow them here. It's no big deal. And the market collapsed. And this is just kind of the natural boom bust cycle of capitalism, right? Like, that's just inherent in the system to a certain degree.
For them to make it fair, I think I should be able to go up to like an auction and just be like, here's a Black Lotus. Give me the house.
What's
Bam.
a Black Lotus?
That is one of the most valued cards in Magic the Gathering.
All right. I think we've lost the plot. On that note, we have been, we are, and we always will be Unnatural Selection. Thank you for listening to our feature-length episode. Make sure you follow us at our salubrious home on the web, unnaturalshow.com. Make sure you follow us on all the bullshit social medias that have, do, or ever will exist at our handle at Unnatural Show. That's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and motherflippin' TikTok. Make sure you follow me on TikTok and Instagram at George Tsipos.
You can follow me on Threads at tom.heath.
And you can follow me down as the Labor campaign officer. I'll be giving them some unsolicited advice on how to sell a budget.
Yeah, you and everyone else, mate. Thanks for listening, guys. Love your faces. We'll see you next week.
See, Adam, they could probably fund the budget if they sell all their Pokemon cards.
Oh, they're taxable. Those are taxable events.
I'm
if
sure,
you sell
Jim.
if you sell a Pokemon card for a profit, you got to pay your CGT on that one, okay, mate?
But only half of the CGT until next year. So sell them now. Sell those Pokemon cards now.
Crash the market.